What up, guys? That Comic Awesome here, doing another review, doing Titans number 21. And honestly, Titans is becoming my favorite team book. I only started reading Titans because I had a light pull one week, and I just happened to see it sitting on the shelf, and I was like, yeah, the cover looked cool. I think it was probably maybe 16 or 17. And I liked it. I really, really liked it. And this current arc, it's very deep, and I think a lot of people can find it relatable, and not even for like the surface levels, but just the fact that Arsenal can be a very relatable character. If you I just posted my Flash 42 review, and Arsenal kind of has that same but different kind of characteristics that Barry Allen has. He is flawed, and the fact that he is flawed makes him, again, to me, a very relatable character. So thus far, the Titans have been disbanded by the Justice League, citing that they were being reckless, and the Justice League needed to reevaluate kind of their status, and if they operated together as heroes, the Justice League would have no choice but to come in and intervene. After that happened, Wally was kind of in a little bit of a rough spot, but this arc really focused on Roy Harper and what he's been through in the past, having substance abuse issues. Obviously, he kind of has I'm going to say a soft spot for that kind of justice. So he starts going after drug dealers who are selling this knockoff drug. I think it was called Bliss. They don't really mention it in this issue. He teams up with Cheshire, who is a villain, to kind of take down these knockoff drugs in hopes of the knockoff drug will lead them to the real drug Bliss, and then give them an opportunity to take down kind of the main organization. So they take down the knockoff headquarters, kind of the knockoff drug dealers' headquarters, and get the samples of real Bliss that they were looking for. Cheshire ends up drugging him, and then making off with the samples. Again, kind of hits close to home because he is, he's had those substance abuse issues. So when he's been reintroduced into that, anybody who's had that kind of life will sit here and go like, oh no, he's going to relapse. But I like how they do it, because I feel a lot of people would sit here and say like, that's how I would feel in that situation. But as a friend, you kind of look at the way that everyone else reacts, and you're like, I kind of understand. If they had no prior knowledge, I get where they're coming from and how they're acting as well. And I want to say here, I think one person handles this whole situation right, and she's probably in about 3 panels. Everyone else, I think, in some way, shape, or form, takes the situation, and there's a misstep. And that misstep leads to a lot of confusion and anger towards each other. So let's kind of jump in, and we'll see what's going on. So there's Mala and Brain. They're the ones who are kind of masterminding this, and you find out through these panels that this street drug is allowing Brain to cognitively connect and expand his consciousness through the drug users. And then that's why, that's pretty much the agenda, that they will no longer be they'll no longer be second-rate criminal, like villains. They'll be top tier. So then you get Harper, who is, again, he's just coming off of a night where he was drugged. He didn't take them willingly. He was drugged, and he's having a conversation with a friend who he wants their help, and he feels as though he's being betrayed. And again, so he's like, look, I screwed up bad. Because he pretty much had a conversation with Donna about not wanting to speak anymore, that he needed to go this alone. But now he's kind of coming back to her and be like, look, I screwed up, but there's a threat. There's a threat coming, and I don't, I need some help, and you're the only one I can trust. He's like, I can't go to Dick. I can't go to any of the other Titans. I need your help. So he says here that when he was under the influence, he had a vision of this terrible. He said this intelligence eclipsing the world, so scary, so pure. So obviously he had some vision of Brain. But he admits that it was while he was under the influence. And of course, Donna says, you say you saw all of this when you were using. And he's like, no. He's like, well, kind of. He's like, I'm not using, but I was under the influence when I haven't. And again, from her standpoint, again, being a friend, you always have to kind of question that. Like, this is the first step to the next step to that step to that. It's a steep downhill slide. So, he's like, I haven't relapsed. This is that's not what this is. Weren't you listening? There's a major threat. And she's like, I'm listening. And he says, you don't trust me. And then I like this kind of inner monologue. He's like, he says, sometimes you ask the question that really matters, and it takes just slightly too long to answer, and you know what they're thinking without them having to say it. So she takes a little too long to answer, and he's like, look, it's clear you don't trust me. Whatever, I'll go this alone. And so Donna, who was on the Justice League Watchtower, asked Batman to look into some stuff. Him and Wonder Woman both confirmed that there's no activity like that whatsoever. And, they're like, look, he's obviously relapsed. He needs to get some help. And Donna's like, no, that's not it. And even as she's leaving, like, Batman's like, nothing about this story checks out, and we'd know. Kind of being like the little bit of a, if you ever, like a little bit of a snarky, like, look, we're the Justice League. We would know if there's a threat, intact, incoming. And he's like, and we're not seeing anything. But you find out that that's because Brain has, his consciousness or his cognitive ability has expanded so much that he's able to mask that from the Justice League sensors. So then you get, so Donna does the next best thing. She calls Dick and Wally to go investigate. And so they're like, look, okay, we'll go in and we'll check it out. So Wally gets in, lets Dick in. And I like this because even in the last issue, Cheshire was at Harper's place and she makes mention of like how trashy it is, and he's just like, I'm pretty much a slob or whatever. But, and again, poor Roy, because he sits here, like, his friends come in, and they're like, God, look at this place, like, Harper's really spinning out. And it's like, Donna was right to call us. It's like, yeah, this could be indicative of somebody spinning out of control, or it could be somebody who is just a complete slob. You don't know. So then, this is probably one of my favorite sequences in comics I've read in a long, long time. You have so Dick and Wally kind of say that, and they then realize that Harper's there. He's like, hey, look, I need your help. Are you here to help? And they're like, we're here to help you get the help you need. And he's like, yeah, that's what I thought. I'm done with you. Because it's clear that they don't believe him. They're there because they think he's relapsed. And so Wally's like, wait. Turns out, and then so he just turns around and fires all the arrows. And again, fire a bunch of arrows, and what do you get? A 2-page spread in the staple. So when you open this book up, if you just open it up, it's like right to the staple, and it's Bendis. So Wally catches all the arrows, and he's kind of like pissed off. He's like, look, he's like, hey man, like that's not cool. Like, I can dodge all those. He's like, but Nightwing can't. He's like, yeah, I knew you could dodge all of them, and I knew you would catch all of them to protect Grayson. And it turns out they're like activate like a stasis field to hold Wally for 10 minutes. Meanwhile, Dick and Arsenal start to go at it, and I love the back and forth that they have. And he's like, we come from similar backgrounds, but the Green Arrow is always a poor man's Batman, which he is. He's like, does that make me a knockoff Robin? Which he kind of is. But it's funny that he's kind of like, look, I'm my own person. I'm not. He's like, you tired of having to babysit the Green Arrow's mistake? And Dick kind of like hits him. He's like, that's not true. He's like, yeah. He's like, you became Nightwing to shrug off the shadow of your mentor, but you're still doing everything that Batman tells you to do. And meanwhile, he's kind of like going. He's having this inner dialogue about how to fight Dick, and he's like, in my hand, anything is a weapon, which then Dick just turns around and like smashes him, and he's like, man, he's good, he's a machine. He's like, the only chance I have is to blitz him and deny him, and so he jumps up, Dick crashes him, and he's like, well, I held out longer than I thought I would. And he's like, do it, Dick, finish it. Prove what friends really are. And so, like, Nightwing kind of looks at him, and he just, like, sucker punches him. He's like, there it is. The tiny hesitation, the chance I was counting on. And so he ends up getting his gear and then just, like, taking off after he knocks him out. Meanwhile, Wally's still kind of just stuck in that stasis for a little bit. But again, I've been loving this book. I definitely think this should be, if anybody who likes team books, this is where it's at. One of very well written, giving individual voice to each person. Very well done, and the art's really good on it too. If I don't mention the art in a review, it's because it's consistent and it's good. Usually, I will only mention art if it is like super spectacular or crappy. But yeah. So sub over here, watch some more videos, hit me up in the comments, let me know what you guys think, and I'll see you next time.